Well, we're gonna go ahead and start. You ready? Our pastor is up front, so if you'll stand with me, welcome to the Thursday, October 29th meeting of your Irving Las Colinas Rotary Club, celebrating 83 years of service to the Irving community. Our invocation day will be led by Reverend Bill LeVar. Are you still under any anesthesia from your surgery, or are you fully recovered? All right. Okay. Our pledge will be led by John Van Buren. Neil and Sandra are going to lead us in singing Great Pumpkin is Coming to Town. You'll need the words for that. And Dr. Parra will introduce our visiting Rotarians and guests. So, Bill, please forward.
I want the club to know that I received word from Myrna Lancaster not long ago that Ken has gone on comfort care, which means that they are just keeping him comfortable and not doing anything to combat the cancer. So it won't be long now, but he's not in any pain, and that's the good thing. So would you join me in a spirit of prayer? Eternal God, we give you thanks for the blessings of this day. We give you thanks for this little shot of cool weather and the rain which fell upon us. It enriched the earth as it enriched our souls. We give you thanks for this club and its work in our community. We ask your spirit to be upon us, to bless our club and what we continue to do, to bless this food and to take it to the nourishment of our bodies and to keep us this day in your peace. In the name of the Christ we pray. Amen.
Amen. Now, wait a minute, Bill, which arm are you having physical therapy on? Okay, so you can give me a high five yet? Oh, no,
not with this.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Bill. We're going to continue to pray for Bill. He's in physical therapy right now. Well, Neil, we're going to do the pledge first. So, John, lead us. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, now the great pumpkin is coming to town. You'll need the words. All right, we can do it. Come on, you guys online. Let's see you singing. Coming to town. No. All right. Well, we are definitely in the season here. Thank you all. Dr. Barr, do we have any visiting Rotarians and guests?
Yes, we're very pleased to meet Don.
So, Don, where are you at here? Sitting in the back there, Don. Thank you. Glad you're here today.
We have John Moser, District Governor. We would like to meet
Trudy. That's all right. We'll introduce them again here in just a moment. Hi, Aaron. Hi, Lori. Well, let's give all of our visiting Rotarians and guests a warm welcome. Also not signed in, but joining us virtually is District Governor nominee Howard Templin. So Howard, wave at everybody. We're glad you're here with us today. So thank you, Howard, for joining us. What a great crowd we have to hear our district governor today. We have a couple of quick announcements and some presentations, and then I want to get straight to our district governor so he can speak with us. But Ed McCarty had an announcement he needed to make. Ed?
I just want to make certain that everyone's aware, we are going to have Ring the Bell this year. We'll start Friday or Saturday after Thanksgiving, which will be the 27th. We need as many volunteers as we can get, because we are very short-handed with the Salvation Army. Also, make an announcement, if you know someone needing a job, $10 an hour to ring the bell. Let me know. Many people should be out looking for work, and nothing better than ring the bell. So let me know if you got someone available. You start signing people up next
Thursday. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. So we'll have sign-up sheets next week, and if you want to help ring the bell to help Rotary, help the Salvation Army, encourage you to participate with that. Well, we have a couple of recognitions we're going to do today. So our first one is our Rotary Attendance Awards. And District Governor, I'm going to ask you if you could come join me up here. Those of you in the club know that our club passed our attendance policy so that we could keep accurate records of attendance. It's not really referred to as perfect attendance anymore, just Rotary attendance, 80% attendance at our club meetings for the year. And I have this pen. What number does that say on it, Governor? A small number. 29. So 29. Our Rotarian member of this club and District Governor, District Governor-elect Max Duplant has 29 years of attendance. So we're going to present that virtually to her. Just look at it right here.
Max, I'm not certain if it's 29 years of attendance or that's your age. 29, one or the other. But congratulations on such a wonderful achievement. Thank you very much for your attendance.
Thank you. Definitely not my age.
All right. Well, Max, we'll have that pin for you. We'll get it to you. John Van Buren's going to take custody of that pin and make sure that it arrives at its proper destination. Well, Governor, stay with me. We have two other really important recognitions. One of the things the district governor always asks when he comes is, are there going to be any Paul Harris Fellows that we can recognize? And as we reported to you in our meeting, our club has taken advantage of some of the points that we have, people that have contributed to Paul Harris that are no longer members of our club. Those points become available where we can reassign them to help someone get a Paul Harris. So if someone's more than halfway to that $1,000 for Paul Harris, then we as a club can elect to use some of those points and award a Paul Harris Fellow. So we have a Paul Harris Fellow to award today to none other than Ed McCarty. So Ed, would you come forward? I texted him earlier to make sure he was going to be here today. I didn't tell him why, but Governor?
Ed, one sapphire for your pen. Congratulations on your Paul Harris +1.
Well, I appreciate it very much.
Paul Harris +1 is the second $1,000. So congratulations, foundations. Thank you.
Thank you. And our second recipient of the Paul Harris +2 is not in the room, but is online virtually with us. Let me look and see. He is still there. That would be none other than past President Rick Lindsay. So past President Lindsay, now I asked you yesterday if you were coming in person because I knew this was happening, but I know you had got full of meetings today. So Governor, I'm going to give that to you. I'm going to turn this around, or you can just look right.
Rick, it's really a pleasure to give this to you. This is the Paul Harris +2. You have 2 sapphires now in your pen. Wear it with pride. The Rotary Foundation thanks you very much for your contribution.
Thank you.
Thank you, Governor. Rick, thank you. Let's give Rick a round of applause too. You still there? You didn't pop out on us? All right. Well, the screen keeps moving around on me. Rick, well deserved. Thank you for allowing us to honor you in this way. Well, we have a special treat for you today. The district governor is here, And if we can make the technology work right, Max Duplant, from where are you at, Max? I just see the wind blowing and the ocean behind you. Or are you
I am
in Bermuda, or are you in Hawaii? Where are you at?
I'm still in Texas, South
You're
Padre
still in
Island.
Texas. Wait a minute, we got to get your volume up. Yeah, mute me.
South Padre Island. How is the volume working? So is volume okay? Shall I do the introduction? Okay. So it's a pleasure today for me to introduce our district governor, John Moser. He is a member of the the Island Sunrise Rotary Club. He's been a Rotarian since 2008. And in 2009, he had the pleasure of participating in the Indian Inoculation Day, which I've heard him say great things about his experience in going to India for that Rotary event. He's held numerous positions in the district, and he is also a major donor, a Paul Harris Society member, and a Foundation Bequest Society member. He graduated from the University of Texas. I know Ken Lancaster would appreciate that. And he is retired from American Airlines after 31 years of service. His wife is Trudy Moser, and I understand she's there as well today. They've been married for 52 years and live in Fairview. They have 2 children and 4 grandchildren. So it's with pleasure that I introduce to you District Governor John Moser.
Now, they may have wanted me muted. You don't know that. Or after you hear the speech, you may all want to be muted. District Governor, I have a tradition that I always tell you about. And my tradition is that I start every speech with a true story. And this is no exception. So I'm going to tell you a true story. Now, I'm a Presbyterian, and Presbyterians, yep, there you go. Good Calvinist here, yep. I was at church not long ago before the COVID pandemic struck, and I was in the narthex, and in the narthex at the other end was a young man, and he was standing there looking at this plaque on the wall, and this plaque had all sorts of names on it. The young man was looking at that, and pretty soon the pastor comes out and he says, "Son, what are you doing?" And the boy says, "Well, I'm looking at all these names. What are these names on the wall?" And the pastor says, "Well, son, those are the names of people who died in the service." And the boy looks at the wall, and then he looks at the pastor, and he looks at the wall again, and he asks the pastor, "Is it the 9 a.m. service or the 11 a.m. service?" True story, right? There we go. There we go. When you become the district governor, you go through lots and lots and lots of training to do it. 3.5 years worth of different types of training. The first thing you go through, Rick's been through it, a lot of people have been through it, Robert's been through it, is your Lone Star Pets. That's the first step in becoming a district governor. Then you go through a lot of other things. The RMDTI, Zone Institute. And the final step that I took, and Max is about to take it, is called the International Assembly. The International Assembly I attended was in San Diego last year. Max has the pleasure of going to Orlando. At the International Assembly, your schooling is led by your incoming Rotary International president. Mine was a gentleman named Holger Kanak. Holger is the kind of guy that if you meet him 2 minutes later, he's your best friend. He is really that nice a guy, and his wife Suzanne is just like that. They're wonderful people. So Holger, talking to 534 district governor elects, told us what he wanted us to deliver to clubs as a message. And he had two things he wanted to talk about. And the first thing he wanted to say is, whatever your club is, make sure your club is fun. If your club is not fun, anyone who comes in will never come back. So make sure your club is number one, fun. Second thing he wanted us to talk about, there are 4 items. And, last year you had Beverly Grogan. She gave you a wonderful, eloquent speech, and this year you get me with dull details. So here we go. First thing I'm going to talk about from Holger is membership. 15 years ago, Rotary International had 1.2 million Rotarians. 10 years ago, Rotary International had 1.2 million Rotarians. 5 years ago, Rotary International had 1.2 million Rotarians. This year, Rotary has 1.2 million Rotarians. We're kind of stuck there, 1.2 million Rotarians. Historically, at the International Assembly, the president, Rotary International president-elect, will ask all the district governor-elects to give him an estimate of how many people they're going to bring into their district so they can expand Rotary. So they busily write down a number on a piece of paper, and they hand it off, and they go back and add it up. And soon the international president-elect comes out and he says, wow, we're going to have 2 million Rotarians next year. Then at the end of the year, he has 1.2 million Rotarians. We're broken. We can't keep people in. The people come in, they turn around and leave. Now, Holger has a different philosophy, and I think Max and I agree with this. His thought is, if we can get people to become more involved in starting clubs, for instance, they will tend to stick. If they put skin in the game, we can get people to stick with Rotary more often. Now, I'm going to talk about just 2 of the types of clubs we're going to have, or we're looking at starting, and challenge you to think about these clubs. The first one is called a satellite club. Now, I almost got run out of town on a rail in Denison when I said satellite, because they thought for sure I was going to take members away from their club. Absolutely not true. What a satellite club is, it's a group of members of your club who meet at a different time and probably at a different place. Think about it. Not everybody can meet at noon. Not everybody can meet at noon on Thursday. They meet somewhere else. So a lot of people have an opportunity or a desire to join Rotary. They just can't find the club to meet. So we are challenging people to think about starting a satellite club somewhere. It takes 8 people to start a satellite club. They can meet at a restaurant in the evening. They can meet on a Saturday. They can meet on a Sunday. Doesn't matter. But they're members of your club. They increase your membership. They're available to help you with projects. You can help them with projects. But it's all meeting somewhere else. So it's like dividing your club up a little, or calling in a committee, whatever you'd like to do. Members of your club, it's a satellite. We've had success with satellite clubs in our district already. We've got a satellite club in McKinney. McKinney Sunset is a satellite of McKinney Sunrise. Great club. Trudy and I visited them, I don't know, 4 or 5 weeks ago. Nice club. I guess there were about 20 people there, mom, dad, and the kids. Great club. Sounds like the YMCA, doesn't it? Perfect. We have another club. It's a group of Rylarians who meet in a person's house. They're a satellite of the East Dallas Club. Rylarians, it's affinity like Rylarians. They went to camp together, so they want to meet with each other, and they're starting a new club there. We've got a club in Waxahachie that doesn't know it's a club. In Waxahachie, they have lawyers who are members of the Waxahachie Rotary Club, but every Friday morning they meet for breakfast right outside the courthouse. So here they are, members of Rotary. They're meeting every Friday. Hey, they're a satellite club. We've got that going. My club is in the process of starting a satellite club. We're not far from it. Another affinity club, and we're starting a club of veterans. Veterans like to associate with veterans. So we're starting a veterans satellite club up in my area. Satellite clubs are easy to do, especially with affinity clubs. And Lori, I'm going to talk about affinity clubs with you in just a minute here, because she's got one going for a real club, not an affinity, not a satellite club. The second kind of club that Holger asked us to challenge people to think about is a standard everyday Rotary club like this. Now, people look at me and they say, why would we ever think about starting another club like this? I'm going to ask you a couple of questions. First question is, what is the largest town area-wise in Collin County? Does anyone, you may not know about Collin County, but the largest town in area in Collin County? Frisco? No. McKinney? No. Plano? No. Salina. Salina, H. Ross Perot Jr. went to Salina and dropped a bunch of money, bought a lot of land, is building a lot of houses. So the city of Salina annexed all that area. Well, they announced they're building 4,500 houses. It takes 25 people to start a Rotary Club. 4,500 houses, we can't get 25 people to start a Rotary Club? So we have an opportunity there. How about Van Alstyne, Texas? Number one, can you spell Van Alstyne? Number two, Van Alstyne's in Grayson County, 2,000 acres, 6,000 rooftops. We went to Ennis, I don't know, 3 weeks ago, whatever it was. On our way to Ennis, I drove through Dallas and I told Trudy, look, there's the new state bird of Texas. She said, what's that? And I said, it's a crane. Because if you go through downtown Dallas, they got a lot of cranes going. They're building a lot of places there. We got to Ennis, and if you look at Ennis, somebody has invented a seed that you can throw out there and houses will sprout up. They're just everywhere in Ennis. It's growing like mad. Midlothian's growing. We went to Cedar Hill and we said, boy, Cedar Hill's going to be dead, right? 4,500 houses in Cedar Hill. That was in the paper this week. We are growing like mad in this area. So we think that we have the opportunity with the mass of people that we're getting in this area to start new clubs. I'll give you an example. Princeton, Texas. Princeton, Texas is in Collin County. It's just on the west edge of Lake Levant. It's on Highway 380. It's grown 4,000 people in 2 years. And if you don't believe that, go up to Highway 380 some morning and try to drive through that traffic, and you think 75 is bad. I mean, it's terrible up there. Terrible traffic. Well, we went to the Farmersville Rotary Club last year and we said, Farmersville, will you help us start a club in Princeton? Princeton's grown, they're big. They said, sure, we'll help you. So we went to the superintendent of schools in Princeton and he said, hey, you can use our high school. There's not many places to meet in Princeton. So they said, you could use a high school. We went to the city council in Princeton. They said, we'd love to have you there. That's great. Then we went to the Chamber of Commerce and they said, man, that's fantastic. We'll help you every way we can. So here was our plan. Since Princeton's a bedroom community, you get up in the morning, you go to work somewhere else and you come back at night. Our plan was when you come back at night, you stop by the house, pick up the spouse and the kids and come to the high school and we're going to have a Rotary meeting. And that was great. We were that far from getting it done. And guess what happened in March of this year? If anyone, do I have to say the word? We all know, right? School's closed, so we've got it on hold right now. As soon as we can get the school going again there, we will open a new club in Princeton, Texas, that kind of thing. Quinlan, Texas. I've been in this area for 74 years. I've never been to Quinlan, Texas. Quinlan, Texas is growing like mad too. We've got challenges. We've got opportunities. And the opportunities is to open new clubs, and we're going to do it in these little towns. And I think that's where we're going to be successful. One other area that we are looking at adding people from or getting new members from, and we've got a couple of great examples. One here, I think one's still on the screen. Yay, Lazaro's still up there. Rotary alumni. Do you know what a Rotary alumni is? You do. You're cheating. That's no fair. Rotary alumni, people think that's someone who's quit Rotary. It's not quite true. It's someone who has benefited from Rotary. Rylarians, interactors, Rotaractors, group study exchange, scholarship, you name it. Those people have received from Rotary. Most of them, some of them have, most of them have not come back to help us in Rotary. We have over 600 in our district. Our district goes from Ennis to the Red River, from Commerce to Capel. We have over 600 living people in our area who have received from Rotary and should be able to come back and help us with Rotary. We're going through the list right now, trying to contact some of those people, and we could use help if anyone wants to help us, to see if we can get them to come back to different clubs. Think about this. Most of them have experience with Rotary. Most of them are younger, so it's a great place to go, and we're trying to do that right now. Well, those are the three areas we're trying to get members in, and we think we're going to be successful. In the last 3 years, we've lost almost 250 members in this district. Not good at all. So far this year, we have been able to gain back, since July, about 30 members. So we're working our way back slowly. But remember, we got COVID, we're shut down. It's a problem. So we're working through it, and we think we'll get there. Let me move over to the second item. The second item, membership feeds the foundation. If you don't have members, you don't really have a good foundation. So the foundation is the second part Holger wanted me to talk about. And this is not pretty. I'm going to tell you in advance. Very, very generally, here's how the annual fund of the Rotary Foundation works. You send money to the annual fund. 3 years later, half that money comes back to the district. And that's the money we use for district grants. We use it for scholarships. We use it for other things. The other half stays in the foundation, and it's called the World Fund. And the World Fund is where we match global grants. We give scholarships. We do a lot of things from the World Fund. As a matter of fact, most of the good that Rotary does comes out of the World Fund. Well, this last March, we had the pandemic. The trustees of the Rotary Foundation said, tell you what, let's do. Let's give disaster recovery grants to any district in the world who wants one. $25,000 grant to any district in the world who wants one. 534 districts. So we'll put $1 million up, and we'll see if we can help these clubs get out of this pandemic. Well, became very popular, and people took that right away, and they took it, and our $1 million went away. We had to add a second $1 million. We had to add a third $1 million, and finally Rotary International had to step in and add $1.7 million so we could cover all these grants. And that's wonderful. We're doing all this great stuff in the world with the pandemic. We're giving PPE, we're giving food, we're doing all kinds of wonderful things. But we drained the World Fund. We took the money out of the World Fund. So between May the 15th and June the 30th, we could not write another global grant. We could not drill another water well. We could not heal another child. We could not feed anybody. We could not educate anybody. We had drained the World Fund. And it's not all doom and gloom, because remember I told you, it goes there for 3 years, and at 3 years, it goes into the World Fund. So July the 1st, we had a reinfusion of money into the World Fund. But we're not giving as much as we used to, so that infusion is not great. It's not huge. So our fear is that next August, we're going to run out of money again. Well, we got preachers in the room, and I will tell you right now, not one of them is ever going to stand up there and say, don't give us any more money. We all want money, and I'm the same way. We're asking people, please give to the annual fund of the foundation. We need the money. We desperately need the money. Why did we run out of money? Here's the reason. In the old days, Don Jensen's days, we gave 3H or 4H global world grants. They were matching grants in the world. They were difficult, they were hard to do, and they were limited what they could do with them. In 2013, the foundation decided they would come up with a new version, and they called it Future Vision. Future Vision made district grants and global grants easier and expanded what they could cover, made them very, very big. The global grants became extremely popular. Since we took that up in 2013, excuse me, through 2019, we've issued $86.7 million in global grants. Global grants have expanded 80%. The Income from the annual fund, the other side of it, has grown by 7%. We found a very, very popular thing with these global grants, and we're giving them away like cotton candy. We're not getting the money in on the other side to support them. So I'm up here and I thank you for your contributions to the foundation. Rick, I thank you for the contributions. We need more contributions. We need everyone to please consider giving to the Rotary Foundation. It's critical for the future of what we're doing. We have a simple little thing called Every Rotarian Every Year. We ask for $120 a year, at least, from every Rotarian. If we could do that worldwide, we'd be in good shape, but we have problems with that. So $120 a year, $10 a month, that's easy. We'd love to see more people become Paul Harris Society members. Paul Harris Society is $1,000 a year. You sign up for $1,000. That's $83 a month. That really would help. That's one of the big areas we get money for the annual fund. Major donors. We don't have a lot of major donors in the world, but we do appreciate everyone who can step forward and give at least $10,000 to the foundation and help us with that. Remember, every minute of every day, our foundation feeds somebody. They clothe somebody. This sounds like Matthew, doesn't it? You visit me. That's what, I'm sorry? That's it. I mean, that's it. We do that, but we can't do it without your help. We need your help to do that. So we're asking everyone, please prayerfully consider giving to the foundation of Rotary International. Well, that's half of the story on the foundation. The other half is why we have a pie up here today. By the way, I will tell you that Trudy has 54 and a half years of experience baking apple pies. She has perfected the art of apple pies. And I have it on extremely good information that the winning number has not been sold yet. So just so you'll know that. Trudy, you want to come up and talk about polio?
Well, we all know there are many worthwhile causes that you can support, but I've chosen End Polio Now for my spouse's program this year. In the 1980s, Rotary promised the children of the world we would end polio so they would never have to suffer the effects of this terrible disease. And much time and effort and money has already gone into this cause. And it's been said over and over again that we're this close to finishing this endeavor. However, while polio is still existing in Pakistan and Afghanistan, and it's still paralyzing children in those countries, and as long as polio exists anywhere, it remains a threat everywhere. So a polio-free world is possible, but we can achieve it only by taking action together. With the challenges to vaccination programs posed by the COVID-19 pandemic, it's even more crucial that Rotary continues to build awareness and to raise funds for polio eradication. And I'd like to thank everybody today that have contributed to this cause by getting a raffle ticket for the pie, because all the funds will go to the End Polio Now campaign. And John, you want to draw one out and see who the lucky winner is?
We'll get one. There you go.
Okay, it's number 492299. Okay, thanks.
In 2005, we went to the Grace Presbyterian Church in Plano and became members there. And there was a past district governor from Slippery Rock, Pennsylvania, who bugged me about becoming a Rotarian. I said, no, I don't want to do it. No, I don't want to go to a meeting. No, I don't want to do it. Finally, one day he got me in a moment of weakness, took me to the Plano Rotary Club. District Governor L.B. Showalter was talking. He and his wife Donna were talking about Malawi, the poorest country in Africa. Great talk, wonderful talk. Afterwards, Gentleman came up to me and said, all right, this is wonderful. Now, don't you want to join Rotary? And I said, oh, I got a way to get rid of him now. That's in Plano. I live in Frisco. Hey, Brad, this is great, but if I joined Rotary, I wouldn't want to do it in another town. I would want to do it in my town of Frisco. And don't worry, we got clubs in Frisco. So he took me up to Frisco. It was a fun club. Joined Frisco, became the president there in 2012. But that was 2008 in March. In April of 2008, we had a thing called the District Assembly. District Assembly is where the incoming district governor teaches people how to run their clubs. There was a future district governor there named Sandra Forrester. She was running a class on the foundation. She says, I'm going to take a group to India next year to do immunizations. Does anyone want to go? I have no idea where that came from. But it did. It went up. I had no, I'm just barely in Rotary a year, and I'm already saying I'm going to go to India. So come December, I'm on an airplane going to Hyderabad, India, South Central India. If you've ever been to Hyderabad, January in Hyderabad is 98 degrees. It's kind of warm. Well, we went into the slums in Hyderabad. Here in the United States, we do not know what slums are until you go there. They take trash and they dump it in an area until it forms a mound. When it gets so big they can't get any more on it, they move up, do another one, and another one, and another one. But people live in between those mounds of trash. They put tin or wood up above that to keep the rain and sun out, but that's where they live. Well, we went into those areas to give those 2 drops of life to children. And the women would come out willingly and give us their children. They would hand you their baby because they knew we were going to drop those 2 drops of life in that baby's mouth. That baby would never have to suffer from the crippling disease of polio. I still get emotional. I was a member of Rotary until that day. That day, I became a Rotarian. That will change your life when you do that. When we were there in 2009, they said, you know what, you will never get rid of polio in India. India is too big, it's too backwards, it's too whatever. 2013, no more polio in India. Does anybody know what happened in 2000? This year, actually, 2020, in August of 2020, we had a very eventful thing happen here. Nigeria became polio free. Nigeria, think about Nigeria. That's where Boko Haram is. Polio free. They said, you'll never do that. 2 countries, Pakistan, Afghanistan. That's where we have it. We've got about 130, 140 cases so far this year, but we've got to get it stopped. Why do we have to get it stopped? I'll give you a story that happened a couple of years ago. I didn't do it. I'm innocent. There was a healthcare worker in India who got on an airplane and went to a country called Tajikistan. And I don't know where Tajikistan is, but he went there. Tajikistan had vaccinated all his children to a point, and then they stopped. Here, this healthcare worker goes from India. He carries the polio virus in his body, but he doesn't have symptoms. He goes there, infected 350 children. It cost us $3 million in 3 years to go back and clean that up, revaccinate all those children. Polio is an airplane ride away. It is. Can you imagine somebody getting on an airplane to India and going to California? We don't want to do that. The World Health Organization last week put out a message. They said, if we stop today immunizing children, within a year, there'll be 200,000 cases of polio worldwide. Think about that for a second. You don't get well from polio. You may get well from COVID. You do not get well from polio ever, period. So we are asking Trina, it's our charity, give to polio, please. We do ask that. We ask that you give to the annual fund. We ask you to give to polio. It's that easy. Well, that's my second gift, or my second talk. The third thing he wanted us to talk about, and I don't think I have to talk about it to this club at all, but it's public image, right? You got it down pat, and I applaud that. It's wonderful. But I'm going to tell you a story of why I'm talking about public image, how critical it can be. last January, I was asked to go to a club in the far northern reaches of this district to give a talk. January, winter, cold. So the day before I went, I looked at their webpage and it said they meet at this place at this time on this day. And I said, great, I'll just go up there and get this talk and everything will be fine. Next morning, I get in my car and drive up there, park in the parking lot, go across the parking lot. It's cold. Get to the front door, nobody there. So I said, well, I'll look at their webpage. I mean, their Facebook page. Same information. They're not there. So I said, well, I'm the district governor-elect. I have a little authority. I'll look at their club runner page and get their phone numbers and call them. So I looked at club runner and president, no phone number. President-elect, no name. Secretary, no phone number. Treasurer, no phone number. They didn't have a phone number there. Well, my plea is make sure that you keep your public image up to date. It's critical. Here's the other half of that story. Last week, we were at the Addison Midday Club. Addison Midday. We were talking about this various topic. Here comes a guy in the door. He saw it on the Facebook, on the webpage. He wanted to join Rotary. At least they had their information right in that. So many clubs don't. They don't have where they're meeting, when they're meeting, whatever, correct in their public image. It's so critical you do that. Otherwise, you don't know how many members you could miss. It's very important. Well, I'm not going to spend a lot of time there. I will move on to the last thing he wanted to talk about, and I don't have to do a lot here, strategic planning. And that's, he said, Holger is pretty perceptive. He says 28,000 clubs in the world. He says that most of them have no idea what kind of club they want to be in 5 years. Most of them don't know what kind of club they want to be in 2 years. Most of them don't know what they want to do next week except have lunch and go home. So he has challenged all 534 district governors to go out to their clubs and say, please hold at least one strategic planning session a year. One a year, that's all he's asking. And come up with some goals on what you want your club to do. Establish a roadmap, what you want to be and how you're going to get there. Well, I'm talking to the choir here. You guys all have it down. And I'm very happy and very pleased with that. That's wonderful. Those are the 4 things that our Rotary International president wanted me to deliver to you. And I apologize that they're dull and boring, but I'm just doing my duty. Now, I'm going to do 2 other things before I tell you a true story. I didn't get any complaints about a true story. First thing I'm going to talk about, you've never had a district governor, I don't think you've ever had a district governor do this, and you're going to stand here and say, help. When I took this job on July the 1st, I looked at all the district committees we had. We have a bunch of committees in the district. You know how many members we have in most of those committees? 1. Have any idea how effective a committee of 1 is? Now, I'm a Presbyterian. We live on committees. You don't have committees of 1. Well, we do. We have lots of committees of 1. So I am going around begging people, if you have any interest in what Rotary does, what the district does, how to help with the district, how to meet people, now's the time to do it. And you say, why is now the time to do it? Because we meet virtually. You don't have to go anywhere to do this. You can do it online. Since then, we had 1 person initially for membership. Now we got 5. It's not great, but it's an improvement. We had 1 person for public image. Now we got 3. It's not great, but it's an improvement. Anyway, thank you very much for that. That's great. We had nobody for the 4-way test, 4-way speech contest. Now we got 1 to do that at least. So I'm asking, I'm begging, I'm pleading. If you have thoughts, ever have thoughts about helping in the district, it's the time to do it. It's a great time to do it. Last thing I'm going to talk about is 3 dates, 3 important dates. First date is the 2nd Saturday of every month is a district roundtable. It's virtual, it's online, 10 a.m. on a Saturday. Usually takes about an hour and 45 minutes and over. That's how you find out what's going on in the district. Costs nothing. The only drawback is I can't furnish donuts. You're on your own for that. The second thing I want to talk about is, this is important. November the 21st is the foundation seminar. Foundation seminar is where clubs become qualified for district and global grants. If you don't attend the foundation seminar, or receive training from the foundation, from the district, you cannot write a district or global grant next year. So that's important. There is one other date, and it's kind of a, I'm sorry about this date. We had a party planned for March, and the party was to celebrate polio, or celebrate the end of polio. That was in March, and it got postponed because of COVID. It got postponed till November the 14th. And November the 14th is right around the corner, and we can't have it. So we're going to have to postpone it again now. So our Roaring 20s Gala that we had initially scheduled for March in November is now April the 24th. And so if anybody had that on their calendar, they need to know that. Okay, I'm through. Now I'm going to say this. I'm going to ask for questions, and if I have no questions, I'll tell you a true story. So you have an option. Well, seeing none, there was a lady who had a duck. She took her duck to the veterinarian. Now, the duck she had cradled in her arms. The duck's name was Cuddles. She had it cradled in her arms. The head was just hanging off. She laid it on the table in the veterinarian's office. He came out with a stethoscope and probed around. He said, "I'm sorry, ma'am, but your duck is deceased." And she said, "Oh, no, there's no way. How can you tell that? You haven't done any tests." The veterinarian kind of rolls his eyes, goes back, opens the door, goes in another room, comes back out with a big black Labrador retriever. The big dog puts his paws up on the table, kind of sniffs around the duck, looks at the vet, shakes his head, goes back out the room. The vet turns around, goes to another room. He comes back out, and he's got a big fluffy white cat. He puts the cat on the table, and the cat kind of prods around on the duck. And he shakes his head, jumps off the table. And the vet says to the lady, "I'm sorry, your duck is dead. I was 100% sure of that." So he turns around and goes to his computer. He types a few things on the keyboard, hands her a piece of paper, and says, "Here's your bill." She says, "$150 for you to tell me my duck is dead?" And he said, "Well, you know, had you believed me the first time, it'd have been $20, but once I did the lab test and head scan, it's $150. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
So now you know what a lab test and a CAT scan is. Thank you, John. Well, Governor, we're so grateful that you were with us today. I do have two things I'd like to do in concluding our time together. So if you'll come back up here, our club would like to present a check for $500 to the Rotary Foundation Polio Plus program in your honor.
Thank you.
So we're grateful for you coming and speaking with us today.
Thanks, sir.
And if you'll, we're going to do one other recognition, and I need a camera for both of these. So if we get a few photographers to help me with this. You got that one? All right, let's come up, let's present that one again and let. You want to get another picture? Please. You can hang on the back, Jack. Crystal Daniel. Crystal is the president of Irving Schools Foundation, Governor, and our club is presenting an $8,000 check to support the backpack and uniform program. We're able to do this partly because of a $3,500 district grant that we're getting. So I would like to do the presentation, and we've got a couple of pictures, Crystal. Come on in to receive. You can for the picture of the check. Crystal, through our foundation, we're able to do things like support this country. It's through our foundation we get all the children are paramount in our wants and desires. So on behalf of the Irving Las Colinas Country, back it up. Irving Las Colinas Country. Let's check it again. You may come right on up to the microphone here. We have people on Zoom that want to be able to see what you look like.
Hi. I just want to thank everyone so much in the Rotary Club. Y'all are very familiar with our Supplies for Success campaign that we do every year. Many of y'all have come and helped stuff the bags and make sure our kiddos have everything they need for the school year. And this year more than ever, our president, look, I'm going to get emotional, got it started here. Our president stepped up when I told him that our kids needed more than just backpacks this year. We're getting phone calls daily for kids not even having clothing. Forget the uniforms. They just don't want clothes. We're asking for underwear, socks, shoes, coats, especially with the weather getting colder. So this money will go to make sure kids have what they need to be educated and be successful and just feel normal in this crazy world that we're going through with so much abnormal situations. So thank you all very much for your commitment to our children.
Well, if you'll stand with me today, we've had a great meeting. Those of you watching online, we appreciate your presence. And we'll be right back here next week. Joe Moses from the Irving Parks and Recreation will be our speaker. I encourage you to join us in person or on Zoom. Hang on, let me turn around and look here just a minute. We just have an extra person that's joined us. Max, did you have somebody else in that picture there? Oh my goodness, a future Rotarian right there.
Indeed.
We're going to do the 408 test of the things we think, say, and do. And recent Paul Harris fellow Ed McCarty will lead us in that. Come on up to the microphone, sir.
All right, let's start it off. Let's do the 408 test. The things we say and do first.
Is it true?
Second.
Is it
Fair
fair?
and all concerned. Third.
Will it build goodwill and better friendship?
Fourth.
Will it be beneficial to all concerned?
Thank you very much.
Thank you to each of you. We are adjourned. All of you watching on Zoom, thank you again for being part of our meeting today. Special recognition to Matt.